Everyone, welcome to Pratham Test Prep YouTube channel. I am Ashish Bhargav and welcome to another episode of Daily News Analysis. And this session is very important for especially for the students who are preparing for the CLAT exam. As we know that in newspaper analysis that we discuss from the important news from all major newspaper covered in this session. And why this session is important, as we know that the importance of newspaper is that maximum number of questions they are asking from the newspaper, which means that current affairs session, which is very crucial for your exam. And apart from that, we can say in this newspaper analysis that we discuss about different sections of the news, like sometimes that like economy based news, sometimes like sports based news, science and tech, person in news, summits and conference, miscellaneous, national, international news. And apart from that, we discuss sometimes like Supreme Court verdict, which is important, any amendments, and we can say state initiative. Because sometimes you will see the maximum number of questions they are fetching from the current affairs session. And what are the sources of current affairs is that any newspaper, if you are reading, that is the best source for the current affairs, right? And you have to understand that many our Pratham Test mentors is taking YouTube session, so that you have to look it very carefully. At before that, here is a quote of the day: if your voice is high, only a few people will hear. If your thought is high, then many people will listen. So to inculcate this thought process, you have to develop such kind of temperament, and we can say thought process to read the newspaper like the Hindu, Indian Express, and as well as we can say like different opinions and editorial section. And as we have taken initiative questions of the day, so at the end of this YouTube session that I will ask to you 3 to 5 questions, which is very important. And here is our mentors is here. Daily newspaper is taken by me by Monday to Friday, and Sanjeet sir is taken by Legal Darpan at 3 p.m. Monday, Wednesday and Friday. And here is Juhi ma'am is taken by Current Affairs Samvad is from live at 8:30 p.m. Monday and Friday. Deep dive session taken by Hema ma'am is taken by 3 p.m. every Thursday. Maths Mudda at 11:30 a.m. once in a week, and logical reasoning is Girish Bhatt sir is taken by, and boost your vocabulary session taken by the all three persons. Okay, so that to do one thing, you need to press the bell icon and subscribe the YouTube Pratham Test Prep YouTube channel, so that you will get the notification of all the YouTube session. Now we will discuss about the very first news is prevention of cruelty is not an absolute idea. Supreme Court observed while hearing Jallikattu case. So as we know that prevention of cruelty is not an absolute idea, the Constitution commands us to be compassionate to all living creatures, but it should have a balance. The Supreme Court observed while hearing the Jallikattu case in Thursday. So suppose a mosquito is about to land on you and take what it wants. So mosquito is also an animal. We were wondering whether we should just stand there worried to or do what we need to do protect our selves. So Justice K.M. Stiff the heading the Constitution, and it says the like as we know that the Prevention of Cruelty Act that it had mentioned the many things which we discussed in this newspaper article. So draft Prevention of Cruelty to Animal Amendment Bill 2022. And as we know, the bill process in our constitution is simple. It goes to the Lok Sabha and Raj Sabha, and after the president assent, then the bill became an act. So government had introduced to draft Prevention of Cruelty to Animal Amendment Bill 2022 to amend 6-decade-old law Prevention of Cruelty to Animal Act 1960. So draft has been prepared by the Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying. So what was the proposed amendment? Bestiality as a crime. So draft include bestiality as a crime under the new category of gruesome cruelty. And bestiality means the kind of sexual activity or intercourse between human being and animal, right? And gruesome cruelty has been defined as an act that leads to extreme pain and suffering to the animal, which may cause lifelong disability or death. And as we know that is an Indian Express article also mentioning about Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act, and draft proposal 61 changes, 3 years jail to gruesome cruelty and 5 for killing. So that's why government Supreme Court is taking verdict on the behalf of Animal Cruelty Act. Now moving further, here is unemployment rate dips marginally to 7.2% in July-September survey. So it was 7.6% in the previous quarter and 9.8% in the corresponding period of 2021, according to data from the National Statistics Office, NSO. As we know that NSO released the GDP data also in our country, and NSO, National Statistical Office, also released the labor force participation. Labor force participation. LPF data. So labor force participation data that is released by National Statistical Office. So the employment rate in urban areas for person above the age of 15 years is to 7.1%, 7.2%, and periodic level force survey PLFS data, which is released by National Statistical Office, it clearly says that the unemployment rate is in urban area dipped further to 7.2% from June to September. And so in our country, what is the main reason for the unemployment? And we can say we have to understand the WPR. And what exactly is WPR is? WPR, which means we can say that a worker population ratio. Worker population ratio. Worker population ratio. And what is worker population ratio? Worker population ratio is that how many number of people are working and how many people are unemployed. Just a second. So the labor force participation rate defined as the percentage as persons in labor force who are working, or we can say, seeking or available for work in the population, right? So now we have to understand the first thing, that what is the main cause of unemployment and who release unemployment data in our country, that is the NSO. And NSO also release the GDP data, and NSO make sure that NSO also release PLFS data, which is periodic labor force data. Is that clear? Three questions can be framed that, like National Statistical Office, that is released by many datas, right? Now moving further, as we have to understand what is unemployment as per the definition. So unemployment occurs when the person is actively searching for employment or unable to find work. And National Sample Survey Organization, NSSO, defines unemployment or unemployment on the following activities: working in economic activity, that is unemployed; seeking or available to work, that is unemployed; and unemployed rate, which means that unemployed workers by total labor force. And it has to be multiplied into 100. What are the unemployment in our country? Disguised unemployment. And this disguised unemployment we will see in the primary sector. In the primary sector, which is primary sector of the economy, is agriculture. Secondary sector is manufacture, and tertiary sector, which is, we can say, service sectors. So we are lagging behind somehow in the manufacturing sector in terms of economy is concerned. And if you talk about disguised unemployment, it is a phenomenon where more people are employed than actually needed. And if you talk about in agriculture, where the 54% of we can say people are relying on agriculture land in our country, so many people are disguised employment. Disguised, which means that simple in one term we can say more than required. Disguised, which means more than required. So it is primarily traced in the agriculture and unorganized sector of India. Seasonal employment, it is the employment that occurs during certain seasons of the year, where agricultural laborers in India rarely have work throughout the year. And what are the major causes of unemployment in India? First, social factors. So in case we can say in India, the caste system is prevalent. The work is prohibited for a specific caste in some areas. Second is that in big joint families have big business. Many such persons will be available who do not any work and depend on the joint income of the family. Rapid growth of populations, constant increase in population has been a big problem in India. And we can say a dominance of agriculture. Still in India, nearly half of the workforce is dependent on what I told you already. 54% of, as per the Ministry of Agriculture data, recently it was released, the 54% people are depend on the agriculture land, right? That's not an issue, but problem is that कि जितने लोग उसमें काम करते हैं हमारे country के outcome में GDP में उनका output ज़्यादा नहीं होता, right? So the mobility of labor in India is quite low due to attachment to the family. People do not go to far off areas for jobs. Sometimes you will see factors like language, religion, or climate is also responsible for low mobility. for any people who is a Madhya Pradesh not willing to go to the part of Mumbai because there is a language barrier, that is a Marathi. So, and one more thing is that we can say defect in education system. Jobs in the capitalist world have become highly specialized, but India's education system does not provide the right training and specialization needed for these jobs. Thus, many people who are willing to work become unemployed due to lack of skills. And what are the initiatives taken by the government of India? And that initiative is very important. First thing is the support for marginalized individuals for livelihood and enterprise, which is a SMILE scheme. PM Daksh, which means Pradhan Mantri Daksh or Kaushal, Kushalta Sampan Hadgri. Kushalta, which means we can say that skillful. That is the Hindi meaning is that Kushalta. Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, which means MG Narega. Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, PMKVY, and Startup India schemes. That are the schemes that has recent initiative by the government of India for the to reduce the unemployment in our country. Sometimes they will ask you the questions that which are the initiative taken by the government of India to reduce unemployment in our country, and they will give you the such kind of options. Make sure that that options should be like in out of 5. So like support for marginalized individuals, PM Daksh, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, and Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana and Startup India scheme. Moving further, India-Iran discussed to development of Chabahar port. So as we know that India and Iran held foreign office consultation on recently Thursday during the visit of Tehran Deputy Foreign Minister of Political Affairs, that is Ali Bagheri Kani here, and Dr. Kani, who is a close relative of Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali. We have to understand what is exactly the importance of Chabahar port. So Chabahar port, as we know that here it is located. The prime of here is Iran, and here is Saudi Arabia, Oman, and Yemen. So as you know, we have a good relations like in with the Gulf nation. And Gwadar port, which is many important areas, because in ancient time Gwadar port is playing a vital role in the terms of trade. तो जो हम अफगानिस्तान से ट्रेड करते थे विद द हेल्प ऑफ ग्वादर पोर्ट, राइट, और अभी भी ट्रेड का रूट हमारा वही है. एंड इट इज 75 किलोमीटर 72 किलोमीटर डिस्टेंस बिटवीन द चाबहार एंड ग्वादर पोर्ट. और ये इतना एरिया ऐसा है कि लाइक जिसमें हम ट्रेड को हम ज़्यादा प्रियोरिटी रखते हैं. ठीक है. नाउ वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड द इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ चाबहार पोर्ट. एंड इज चाबहार पोर्ट्स are located in Iran, southern East Sistan and Balochistan province. And Chabahar is located 72 km away from Gwadar port in Pakistan, which we have seen in the map also, while China is developed. Chabahar port serves as the only oceanic port of Iran and consists of 2 separate ports, Shahid Bishti and Shahid Kalantri. And as we know that India, Iran and Afghanistan signed a trilateral agreement in 2016 to establish an international transport and transit corridor. So तीनों कंट्री ने 2016 में साइन किया था. It is in Chabahar agreement, India has committed total grant assistance of $85 million and credit facility of $150 million for developing the Shahid Bishmati terminal at the port. Chabahar port project has the potential to develop into one of the most important commercial hubs, as it has a geographical proximity to countries such as Afghanistan, Pakistan and India, and it serves as a key transit center on the National North-South Transport Corridor, which is INSTC. So we have to understand that the many questions can be framed, and the previous year CLAT exam it has also asked about the Chabahar port. So you have to keep an eye that what kind of questions can be framed. Now moving further, as we can see the Chabahar port advantage for India, and this snaps is taken from the Times of India. Here we can see Chabahar port is developed by India by 3,368.5 crore. And it will, what is the importance is that, what is the significance of Chabahar port is that the trade with Central Asia that will grow, chemical, petrochemicals, steel sectors that gets an impetus, fertilizer imports will get cheaper, and easier availability of minerals from Afghanistan would be easy for us, and reasonable input cost and distance to help Indian companies. And trade corridor completed Chabahar port to Zaidan is 1,380 km. As we can see, here is Chabahar port, which is nearby the Gulf of Oman, and here is the Gwadar port. Now moving further, as we know in the same area and how the India will help with the Chabahar port, here is a Bandar Abbas, which is a part of Iran, Baku, Azerbaijan. The many Southeast Asian nation will get benefited, and India also. It is a part of Central Asia. There are many countries there on the map, as we can see. and and the next one is how the is India planning to end child marriage. So what are the intervention being carried out by the states? Are they helping? What more needs to be done socially, culturally, politically and economically for the welfare of the girl child? And which are the best and worst performing states and why? So as we know that if the concerned child marriage is concerned, so there are many initiatives taken by the government, but despite having all these, we can say that the child marriage is still prevalent in many parts of the country, right? So we have to understand like what exactly is. Because recently the steering committee of a global program to end child marriage is to visit to India and witness states are interventions which will help reduce to prevalence of child marriage. Because we have to initially collect the data, because data collection is very important. Until and unless we will not collect the data, we will not get to understand that like which state is vulnerable in terms of child marriage and how can we reduce this. So UNFPA and UNICEF team that has recently make a global program to end child marriage team to view an estimated increase in the number of child brides due to the pandemic. Now we have to understand what was the major reason for this. So if we talk about in India, so child marriage reduced from 47.4% 2005-6 to 26.8% 2015-16. But in the last 5 years, it declined by 3.5 percent points to reach 23.3% in 2021. And according to latest National Family Health Survey data, this is a growing trend of decline in the overall prevalence of child marriage, but 23.3% is still, like we can say, disturbingly high percentage in the country, which is population is 141.2 crore. 8 states have a high prevalence of child marriage than the national average, which is West Bengal, Bihar, Tripura, top in the list of more than 40% of women aged 2024 married below 18 years of age. And all these states we will see the literacy rate is quite low, except West Bengal is. So Bihar literacy rate is quite low and Tripura also, and West Bengal not in a good manners, according to the National Family Health Survey data. Some states have shown a reduction in child marriage like Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. Rajasthan was a maximum number of child marriage cases, but government are taking many initiatives for that, and also we can say the part of Haryana. Now, what is the global scenario for this? So, according to data from the UNICEF, the total number of girls married in the childhood stands at 12 million per year. 2030 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals aims to eliminate all harmful practices such as child, early and forced marriage and female genital mutilations under Goal 5. What is the legal intervention in our country? This is very important to understand that. So there are several laws including the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act 2006 and Protection of Child from the Sexual Offences Act 2012, which aim at protecting children from the violation of human and other rights. And we can say the Prohibition of Child Marriage Amendment Bill 2021 seeks to increase the marriage age of women from, as we know, 18 to 21 years. Why minimum age of marriage for females should be increased? There are many reasons for this, because obvious that it is not good for the female and as well as we can say that person also. Both can be health is in the danger. There are many initiatives taken by the to preventing the girl child marriage is Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana, and Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana was launched in 2015 in order to promote the welfare of the girl child. It encourages parents to invest and build funds for the future studies and marriage expenses of girl children. Balika Samriddhi Yojana and Balika Samriddhi Yojana that was launched by the government of India to another central government schemes to support girls in the financially vulnerable section of the society. And this scheme ensures the enrollment and retention of girl child in primary and secondary schools. Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, among all the other girls child welfare schemes, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao is the most popular one, and this scheme celebrates girl children, literally translating to save the girl child, educate the girl child. It believes in women empowerment and creating an exclusive ecosystem for the same. This scheme is to promote girl children's safety and before the after they are born. And here is the world of advice on the OTT which means over the top platform. As we can see that over the top platforms कौन-कौन से होते हैं, like आपके Netflix हो गए, like आपके Amazon Prime हो गए, and the draft telecom bill. And here's a very good article that is written by Rentela Chandrasekhar. He is the chairman of Center for Digital Future, Women IT and Telecom Secretary, and former president of National Association of Software and Service Company, that is NASCOM. So what is the draft telecom bill, and why this is a controversy these days? So including OTT communication service provider within the ambit of telecom bill could compromise the energy innovation and funding that characterizes India's startup ecosystem. So we have to understand that the inclusion of over-the-top or OTT communication service within the ambit of the draft Indian Telecommunication Bill 2020 that was unveiled recently by the public comments. It is a feature that has drawn much attention and comment. What does it mean and why it is a big deal? It is a concern only for the telcos or technologies companies, or we can say the larger implication that concern of everyday citizens beside how will this affect to digital ecosystem in India. We will discuss in the detail. So Indian Telecommunication Bill 2022, Department of Telecommunication DOT released the draft Telecommunication Bill 2022. This bill to regulate internet-based OTT over-the-top telecom service. What are the key highlights of the draft bill? First one, the draft bill consolidates the separate acts which currently govern the telecommunication sector. Indian Telegraph Act 1885, Indian Wireless Telegraphy Act 1933, and Telegraph Wires Unlawful Protection Act 1950. And what is the dilution of TRAI power? TRAI, which means Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, which is a TRAI. Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. And the DOT has also proposed to dilute some crucial powers and responsibility of the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India on issuing new license to the service provider. What is the OTT regulation? The government has included internet-based and OTT communication service such as WhatsApp calls, FaceTime, Google Meet, etc. under telecom services. It was a long-standing demand by telecom operators for the creating a level playing field at present while telecom companies need a license to offer services. OTT platforms do not. Further, bringing OTT under the ambit of telecom services means the OTT, which means the internet-based communications, would require license to offer services. And again, we have already discussed the child marriage rears its ugly head in Rajasthan. Who is a child? According to this articles, while most law fix 18 as the age when one ceases to be a child, there are exceptions. The Majority Act 1875 says the age of majority at 18. 61 Constitutional Amendment Act fixes the minimum voting age is 18. POSCO Act, which means prevention of child from sexual offences. Prevention of child from sexual offences. POSCO Act 2012 and Juvenile Act 2015 define a child as someone under the age of 18, and as we know that Right to Education Act 2019 and Right to Education is enshrined in Article 21 Clause A also, so which is need to be remembered. So Right to Education Act Article 21A and 2009 say that child is just someone between the age of 6 and 14. And the Child Labour Amendment Act 2016 say that child is someone the age of 14 and adolescent is aged between 14 to 18. Now is the next news is Russia offers advanced fuel options for the Kudankulam plant. And this Kudankulam plant, where it is located, we will understand this. So nuclear waste facility at Kudankulam village Panchayat has passed resolution against construction of away from reactor AFR facility at Kudankulam project, and earlier the state government, which is in Tamil Nadu, has opposed such construction because the radiation is quite harmful for the person who is living on that area, and village panchayat is of the view of AFR site would lead to the radioactive pollution, a spread of radioactivity, and a spoil the groundwater which is used for drinking water and irrigation. The scheme for the storage of spent fuel in a nuclear power plant is twofold. One facility is located within the reactor building service building, and another is, we can say, away from reactor. And as we can see, has much energy as one uranium fuel pellet, we can say 17,000 cubic feet of natural gas, 149 gallons of oil, and 1 ton of coal. So that's why it's a high level of, you can say, energy release, energy transfer, and we can say that it is somehow is very dangerous for the people who is living there. And it released by thorium and uranium. As we know that thorium abundance occurs everywhere, rare as gold. And the next article is Supreme Court seeks government view on allowing same-sex marriage. So as we know that the Supreme Court, the verdict is that sought that government response to pleas to the allow solemnization of same-sex marriage under the Special Marriage Act. So there is no Hindu Marriage Act 1955 and Muslim Marriage Act. It should be clear Special Marriage Act. Special Marriage Act. So, Special Marriage Act of 1954 provides a civil form of marriage for couples who cannot marry under the personal law. Recently, क्या हुआ? The bench of Chief Justice of India D.Y. Chandrachud and Justice Hima Kohli agreed to hear partners Supriya Chakravarti, which we can say Supriya and Abhay Dang, who said to non-recognition of same-sex marriage amounted to discrimination. Earlier, it was believed that as per the Supreme Court order, like this act, the ultra vials for the constitution for the extent of discriminate between same-sex couples and opposite-sex couples, because government believes that as this is against the rituals of the Indian ceremony, because Indian ceremony में क्या होता है, एक male female can get married, right? So in simple, this is a violation of somewhere the rituals of our country. So that's why Supreme Court that was against earlier. Now the amendments and discussion that was going on. Until unless जब तक कोई इसमें outcome नहीं आती, we will not discuss in a detailed manner. And here is, we can say, 26th of November, Ministry of Animal Husbandry and Dairying celebrated National Milk Day on 26th of November. Every year, first day of June is observed the World Milk Day. So as we know, the person is here Varghese Kurian, who is a milkman of India. Varghese Kurian is a milkman of India. Or National Milk Day is celebrated to commemorate the birth anniversary of Dr. Varghese Kurian, milkman of India. National Milk Day 2021 commemorates the 100th birth anniversary of Dr. Kurian. The day celebrates the importance of milk in a person's life and to promote the benefits related to milk and milk industry and to create awareness among people about the importance of milk and milk products. So we have to understand something about the Dr. Varghese Kurian, and Varghese Kurian is the milkman of our country. What was the contribution as per the White Revolutions and many things? As we know that Operation Flood, it was launched in 13 January 1970. It was the world's largest dairy development program. Within 30 years, the operation helped double milk available per person in India, making dairy farming India's largest sustainable rural employment generator. The operation gave farmers direct control over the resources they create, helping them direct their own development. This was achieved not only by mass production but by productions by the masses. It was also known as White Revolution. And there are three phases in the White Revolution. One is 1970 to 1980. This phase was financed by the sale of butter oil and skimmed milk powder donated by the European Union, EU, through the World Food Programme, WFP. Phase second is that we can see during this phase the number of milk sheds increased from 18 to 136. Milk outlets were expanded to about 290 urban markets. And phase third is that this phase enabled the dairy cooperatives to expand and give a finishing touch to the program. It also strengthened an infrastructure required to procure and market increasing volume of milk. Next is that India received the biggest share of UK work visas report. 39% of such visas went to the Indian national for the year ending September 2022 according to data released by the British government. And if we talk about migration and mobility, the sharp rise in demand for UK work-related visas has been attributed to post-pandemic recovery. So we have to only keep in mind that, sir, एक topic से related नहीं है, but can you please explain the new air induction branch which would save a lot of money for the defense weapons? Zizi, I could not understand what exactly you are asking. New air induction branch, okay, which would save a lot of money for the defense weapons. Yeah, that was somewhere in the news and we have discussed already. But what exactly you want to know, I don't know. Would you please explain that what exactly you're asking so then I can solve your sir which sir वो topic है don't worry do one thing Zizi you can write in the comment section after the class also sir वो topic ही नहीं है यार sir complex होंगे new year induction plans because I don't know what exactly you're asking. You are talking about in this article. Just do one thing. After this session, you can write it on the comment section. I will reply it to you. That's not an issue. Is that really okay for you? Okay. Now, here is Sangeet Natak Academy. No, not in this article. Okay, got it. So Sangeet Natak Academy, do one thing easy. If you are in the Pratham Test Prep student, so you can ask in the Telegram sections also and write it down in the chat section also. And after this session, you can comment. I will reply it to you. That's not an issue. So Sangeet Natak Academy facilitates 86 artists. So 86 artists कौन से that we not need to remember, but we have to understand the foundation of Sangeet Natak Academy of Lalit Kala Academy Award. What is the Sangeet Natak Academy Fellowship and Award? As you know, there are many sections that you ask in the award section also in your exam. Sangeet Natak Academy Fellowship. Sangeet Natak Academy Fellowship, the highest honorary conferred by Sangeet Natak Academy without distinction of nationality, race, caste, religion, creed or sex. The fellowship of the academy is the most prestigious and rare honor which is restricted to 40 number at any given time. The honor of academy fellow carries a purse money of rupees 3 lakh along with the Tamn Patra. Tamn Patra which means that we can say something made of metal, and Agnavastram. Angavastram which means that there's something which we can say in the once we are respecting someone in such a manner तो उसको हम जैसे एक नॉर्मल क्लॉथ सी होती है उससे उसको अंगवस्त्रम उसे इस टर्म को यूज करते हैं संस्कृत टर्म एंड a boatman hit a Dal Lake in Srinagar as became amid foggy condition on Friday. A cold wave has tightened its grip over Jammu and Kashmir. We have to understand what exactly where is Dal Lake. So Dal Lake is in Srinagar. Dal Lake along with the other famous ones in Jammu and Kashmir to be declared protected wetlands. It is a lake in the Srinagar and summer capital of Jammu and Kashmir, India. It is an urban lake which is second largest in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. It is the name of the lake of flowers and jewels in the crown of Kashmir or Srinagar jewels. There are 3 sub-names, right? So the lake is also an important source of commercial operation in fishing and water plant harvesting. Here we can say Wular Lake. So Wular Lake is also known as Wular in Kashmiri, is one of the largest freshwater lake in South Asia. It is located near Bandipora town in Bandipora district of Jammu and Kashmir. It is one of the largest freshwater lake in the South Asia. Now it's time to questions of the day. So that is very, very important because questions of the day you will solve on a daily basis 3 to 5 questions, which is very important. Until and unless you will not solve the questions, how do you understand that whether you are getting concept or not? And one more thing that अगर आप क्वेश्चन को सॉल्व ही नहीं करते, आप सोचते हो यार पूरे कंसेप्ट को मैं याद करके जाऊंगा एग्जाम वाले दिन कुछ ऐसा चमत्कार सा हो जाए, मुझे बहुत अच्छे कॉलेज में मिल जाए. Make sure that guys कि without solving the questions you will not have a good command and not having such kind of confidence. तो ये इसकी एक ना gradual process होती है. Until unless you will not solve the question, you will not easily understand that what exactly things is going on. Now अभी हमने discuss किया like in this newspaper session the prevention of cruelty of Animal Act 1960. Which of the following statement is are correct? The first one, the Animal Welfare Board of India AWBI was established under section 4 of the act. Second one, the act provides for punishment for causing unnecessary cruelty and suffering to animals. It provides the guidelines relating to experimentation on animals for scientific purpose. Which one is the right one? Select the correct answer using the code below. So as we know that all the statement 1, 2 and 3 is correct one. So yes, about the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act 1960. seeks to prevent the infliction of unnecessary pain or suffering animals. And AWBI, which is the Animal Welfare Board of India, was established in 1962 under Section 4 of the Act. This Act provides for punishment for causing unnecessary cruelty and suffering to animals. The Act defines animals and different forms of animals. It provides the guidelines relating to experimentation on animals for the scientific purpose. Next one. Which of the following statement about Niti Aayog, which is National Institution for Transforming India? It was established in 2015 via an executive resolution by replacing the Planning Commission of India. Second statement says it was established with the aim to achieve sustainable development goals by an active involvement of the state government in the planning process. Which statement given is the correct? So the directive was here correct one. Sometimes it will ask incorrect one. So make sure you have to find it out which one is correct or whether the option is correct or incorrect one. Waiting for your consent. If you know the answer, Niti Aayog we have discussed many times in the newspaper article and as well as in the class. So it's obvious the option C is Niti Aayog is a premier policy think tank of the government of India. It was established with the aim to achieve sustainable development goals by active involvement of state government in the planning process. This premier policy think tank was established in 2015 by an executive resolution by replacing the Planning Commission of India. Right? Now moving further, NIF, the last question of this today's session. National Innovation Foundation India, NIF. NIF is an autonomous body of the Department of Science and Technology under the central government. NIF is an initiative to strengthen the highly advanced scientific research in India, premier scientific institution, in collaboration with highly advanced foreign scientific institution. So, which is the select the correct answer by using the code given below. Only 1, 2, only both 1 and 2, neither 1 and nor 2. So it's obvious we can say the option A is correct one. Only National Innovation Foundation, NIF, is an autonomous body under the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. It was set up in February 2000 at Ahmedabad, Gujarat, to provide institutional support for scouting, spawning, sustainable and scaling up the grassroots innovation across the country. And NIF conduct a biennial national competition for grassroots green technologies, not highly advanced, developed by the farmers, mechanics, artisans, and the other throughout their genus without any recourse to professional help. And NIF validates these innovations with the help of experts and ascertains the novelty in these innovations by doing prior art search. NIF files a patent on behalf of the innovators. NIF also fund value addition initiative in these innovations to upscale them and make them more useful for the larger segment of people. So this is all about the session. Dear student, and I hope you enjoyed the session a lot. If you have any questions regarding the session, please let me know in the comment section. Make sure do not forget to press the bell icon so that you will get notified of every our YouTube session. I hope you enjoyed the session a lot. Thank you so much. अपना ख्याल रखें, सुरक्षित रहें, and we'll meet you tomorrow at the same time at 11:30 and deep dive session tomorrow at the 3 p.m. also. Be ready for that. Stay tuned. Thank you so much. Bye bye and take care.